Page Snow says, is it still effective if after you make it, you put it in the freezer, then eat it in like ice cream? My daughter won't do smoothies. Perfect. Perfect. Yes, effective. These are popsicles. I actually made these popsicles. So I made some popsicles, right? These are good. They're frozen, great for kids. That's the Heavy Metal Detox Smoothie Popsicles, right? Tori Sue says, could I juice my lemons and freeze the juice in ice trays so as to store them up if you have to? Absolutely. Then put a cube in a glass to dissolve it in the AM. Yes, you can. Is it ideal? No, but it's still doable. Can you freeze the lemon juice if you have to? Yes, if you have no other choice. Yes. Use it quickly. Don't let it defrost and become yucky and sit too long.
On page 96 of Celery Juice, Anthony says, I wouldn't freeze celery itself. Freezing stalks, defrosting them, and juicing them will not lead to a good outcome. Even though it seems comparable to freezing the juice, it's not. When you juice the celery fresh, you extracted its life force. If you were to freeze the celery, you would end up juicing a lifeless stalk later.
Karen says, can the celery juice be frozen? If not, how many days can you store it in the fridge? Look, 24 hours in the fridge is not the end of the world. Sometimes I've gone as far as 48 hours and then consumed it. Okay, so if you had to do 48 hours in the fridge and consuming it, it's still better than anything else you can get out there. Okay? If you have to freeze it because you need it a week later or something like that, freeze it. Don't add any water to it. Don't add any ice to it. Don't add any lemon to it. Don't add anything to it, you guys. So important. Becky, can I freeze celery juice? If you have to, yeah.
On the Spinach Soup 101 blog article, it says, is it okay to freeze spinach until you are ready to use it? Anthony says, ideally, you want the spinach fresh and raw in this soup.
Can we freeze the brain shots?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Freeze away.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Freeze away.
Great.
Put them in the fridge in an airtight container if you want to do that. Monica M says, can you freeze the shots, AW? Yes, you can. If you want to freeze them, you can. For some reason, if you need to, yes, you can. You can save them in your freezer if you really have to. Valerie says, I always have frozen asparagus in my freezer. Can I defrost them and use them? Yes, you can. Turmeric and ginger put together, you got a gingeric shot. Can you freeze them in ice cube trays? Yeah, you can do that. That's fine, right? Can you freeze the broth? Yes, you can. Love that broth. Is it okay to make a big batch and freeze some, or does it lose effectiveness? Thanks. Memmy Stubbs. Yes, you can make a big batch and you can freeze it. I'm fine with that. I think that's great. It will work. It will be healing. It'll be helpful. Then you can defrost it and so forth. That would be great. Can radishes be frozen? They can be. They can. If you can't get a fresh radish, you have frozen radishes, use it. It's okay to freeze mushrooms? Yes, it is. It's okay to freeze mushrooms. Absolutely, you can freeze them. It's the only thing that you got to make sure if you buy the frozen chunks of aloe at the store or at the market, make sure it's not laced. Make sure there's no citric acid in there, any kind of natural flavors, any kind of weird fillers, any kind of other chemicals, any of that. Like, make sure that's not there. Do the dates freeze well? You can freeze them if you'd like. That's doable. You can do that. If you have an overabundance of mulberries and you can't eat them all, they freeze very well. You can later defrost them and eat them anytime you like. So you can freeze fruit. You can freeze bananas. I got a lot of bananas in my freezer. A lot of frozen bananas. That's something you can do, right? Another thing, you don't want to freeze your bananas when they've gotten too ripe. You don't want to let your bananas get so brown. You don't want to let your bananas get so brown, right? They're so brown. I got bananas all over the place. That you're freezing them overripe. You freeze them fermented because they'll even ferment more when you make your banana ice cream, and now you'll have a bellyache. And you don't want to freeze your bananas underripe where they're hard, where you pull off these green skins and you freeze them that way. You'll get a bellyache. You don't want to do that. How do you freeze bananas? Mine turn brown in the freezer. They might have been overripe. It takes time for them to turn brown in the freezer, like it takes months. They can still be somewhat light brown in the freezer, but if they go brown in the freezer real quick, like boom, they're really dark brown, that means they went in overripe. If you don't want the smoothie cold, you can defrost everything, keep it room temperature, keep it in the fridge. But if the concern is about it being cold, have the wild blueberries out overnight. Let them defrost, let them become room temperature. Make sure your bananas are room temperature. Frozen cilantro is not the worst. That could work. But you got to put it in the smoothie right when it comes out of the freezer. You can't turn it to yuck and muck. Cilantro works best with living water in it. Frozen is still sketchy, but you can still use it. Frozen cilantro is okay, but use it right after, meaning use it right when you pull it out of that freezer. Don't let it defrost and turn into yuck muck. Don't let the cilantro come out of the freezer and defrost in a bag or on the counter and turn into yucky muck. It won't work. It can only work when you throw that stuff in there while it's still frozen. Frozen state, you throw it in there.